Moving on to our next story here, we know the Supreme Court says the federal government can't force hospitals to provide abortions when they violate a Texas ban. The state faced several legal challenges over this, leaving Texas as the only state where the Biden administration is unable to use federal law to ensure women have access to emergency abortions when their health or life is at risk. Justices did not explain their decision on that. The justices will return to the bench with other items on the agenda, hearing cases on guns, pornography, transgender medical care, and much more. ABC's Brian Abel explains what cases could be the most controversial.
There are 40 appeals cases that this court has decided to rule on so far, and only a handful of those have the clear potential for major political controversies. But this upcoming election, it could throw the courts a curveball.
The 9 Supreme Court justices returning to their bench as polls show trust in the court nears record lows.
I think there's a good reason for it to try to avoid hot-button issues. The real question is, will it be able to?
Experts say many of the decisions the court makes this term could fall along ideological lines of the 6-3 conservative majority and impact American life. But as of now, the docket falls short of the cataclysmic Supreme Court decisions in recent history, like overturning Roe v. Wade or ending affirmative action.
So in each of the last 3 terms, there was one big blockbuster case. The Supreme Court has been overturning decades of precedent.
On Tuesday, the court hears arguments on ghost guns, untraceable weapons made from mail order kits, and whether the ATF has the authority to regulate and require them to have serial numbers. Justices will also decide the First Amendment case of a Texas law mandating age verification requirements for pornography websites. And one of the more closely looked at cases is over gender-affirming care, following an appeal to a Tennessee ban on hormone therapy and puberty blockers for minors. But if the November presidential election is contested, it could once again put the court in the middle of a political storm.
There is no more fraught area for the Supreme Court because the stakes are huge, and it's a quarter of a century since Bush versus Gore. And I think the Supreme Court is still dealing with the ramifications of that case. That was a hugely consequential case.